Hey, I'm here with Matthew Cordaro, specialist in oil. He's going to give us some insight on a few more facts here that we were talking about last week. Matthew, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you, Alan?
I can't complain. You know, it's been a crazy week, and the oil numbers, they were good last week, and it looks like, again, your predictions were correct. You know, another problem we got here, Matthew, is cybersecurity. I mean, you hear about this in the day and age we live in. I mean, just on a small scale, you hear about hacking on credit cards, but what about the electric grid? What about the real important grids in this country? How safe are we from total destruction, basically?
For years, the utility industry has been very concerned about its security, the security of its system. For the most part, historically, the attention has been addressed to physical terrorist-type acts. To disable the electric system. However, with the emergence of the digital world we live in now, that threat has expanded through the use of these cyber attacks to basically potentially affect huge areas of the country who depend on the transport of electricity over the different grids in the United States. Now, so far in the United States, it hasn't been much of a problem. There's been some reports of attempts at cyber attacking some of the systems, but it never resulted in any problem. The utilities were able to deal with it. However, internationally, major events are starting to take place. One that comes to mind or is in the forefront right now is in the Ukraine. There was a massive cyber attack that put hundreds of thousands of people in the dark there. Now, the suspicion is that the Russians are responsible for this, and it really does take a sophisticated entity to be able to deal with that and deliver such an attack. But the officials are reluctant to point fingers right now. But it is of concern. In the United States, it's of concern. There's been legislation adopted dealing with it, the Cybersecurity Protection Act of 2015 and the FAST Act recently enacted also deal with cybersecurity and the communication between private and governmental entities. And it's complemented by the efforts the utilities have underway involving FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, as well as the National Electric Reliability Council in dealing with development of standards and in communication protocols to deal with this. But it's definitely a problem. We have to stay on top of it, and it's something that we're going to have to pay continuous attention to because of the changing landscape and the fact that new challenges will, once we're able to handle one type, another type will emerge. So it's very critical for the security of this country.
You know, Matthew, say there was a cyber attack in, say, Niagara Falls on that power station. How long would that grid be down? How long would it affect New York City?
Well, it depends the degree of damage, because some of these cyber attacks involve the destruction of computer equipment and controls. And indeed, if depending on how successful the different attacks are, it could bring down the grids for long periods of time.
New York, you can't have that. I live on the 30th floor. Another problem, I mean, we're having with the environmentalists and whatnot. I mean, there was a big coal plant that we used to get our power for. That's been shut down. What's going on with that clean air?
Well, the EPA was recently dealt a bad decision by the Supreme Court, and it put a snag into their plans to implement the new clean air or clean power plan, as they refer to it. The Supreme Court decided that it overruled a ruling of a lower court and basically stayed the implementation of the EPA rules in this regard and sent it back to the lower court to be dealt with on the merits and not just procedurally. And this is going to add some delay in what's being done and make some people who are opposed to it happy, and people who are promoting it not so happy. But I think in in the end, it's going to have to go back to the Supreme Court for an ultimate determination on the merits. In the meantime, some states will delay compliance because of this. Other states who have a lot of momentum right now will go forward and implement changes and programs to address these. But in the end, even though this may be a 2-year delay in the ultimate implementation of the Clean Power Plan, there's too much underway right now with the low price of natural gas and the conversions away from coal and the adoption of renewables to reverse things. So I think that momentum will still take hold even in spite of potential delays in the implementation of the Clean Power Plan.
You know, Matthew, here at Small Cap Nation, a lot of our clients are worried that it's going to add a big cost to their small cap companies.
Yes, well, definitely. In the end, any steps we take to comply with new regulations, challenging regulations, is going to involve some cost, and that's going to affect businesses at all capitalization levels.
Yeah. Dr. Matthew Cordaro, thank you so much.